What is going on, squad? Today I wanted to take a moment to talk to our newer squad members about being sore, what Paul Wade refers to as virgin soreness, and breaking into our Isochain, whether you got the OG or the Dragon Door one, doesn't matter, because you may be sore. Now, there is the Fenn effect. If you haven't seen that video, here's a link right here. Check that out. It explains why sometimes we aren't sore on the Isochain, because this is different work than doing dynamic lifts. But let's go into virgin soreness real quick, just so we have a better understanding of what's going on if this is your first time using any Isochain device. First thing that we want to do heading into any workout, isometric, whatever, dynamic, whatever, is to warm up. The warmer the body and the more we really broke into those shell tissues and warm them up, the less chance of BS happening. We're essentially preconditioning our body before the workout session. So we should definitely take the steps necessary to make sure we're ready for it, especially if you're new to isos, especially. Because there's no eccentric movement in this training, isometric training causes less soreness versus other forms of exercise. But don't get it twisted, that doesn't mean it can't cause soreness. There are times where I've been sore, my clients have told me they've been sore, people on the squad have told me they've been sore, and people on the Facebook Isochain group have said they've been sore. This type of training can still cause DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. Pretty much that soreness that we feel after a hard day of training. Something to keep in mind though, is usually seen in beginners, deconditioned athletes, or anyone new to either isos or heavy lift. This next part was new to me when I was learning about it. It can also happen when performing isos in the stretched position, or when volume is excessive, aka them endurance holds. Done them endurance holds. Y'all know I hate those. Here's why though. It's really simple. This type of training, isometric training, essentially opens the doorway to the use of very high loads, higher than we're used to, much more than conventional methods in lifting. It pretty much means that it's highly stimulating to the soft tissues that we talked about a lot on this channel, and just stimulating the muscular system in general, but it can also cause stress to those tissues. Our muscles are not conditioned to accommodate those high forces. So remember, isometrics are at the very top of that force velocity curve. If you haven't seen a video on the force velocity curve, here's a link right here. Go ahead and check that out. It's awesome. But if we're not conditioned to that, performing the isos can make you very sore and stiff at first. So if you're performing it and you're like, but Chris said that in some of his earlier videos that we don't get sore, so is there something that I'm doing wrong? No, not necessarily. We just might be conditioned for it first. That's like, for example, I've always trained in the 6 to 8 rep range. I've always been more of a strength lifter with a little bit of hypertrophy. So some hypertrophy has come along for the ride, but I've always trained more in the strength category. So whenever I go for reps to failure or anything that's about muscular endurance, I usually don't do well at first until my body starts to get conditioned to that. My muscles are ready to go and they're able to perform, just not in that category. Does that make sense? Something else to keep in mind, if you have any lingering issues or injuries, they might feel tender or inflamed after the first couple sessions. And I can speak from personal experience, because one of the reasons that I bought the Isochain from Dragon Door is because it was my last shot before getting surgery. Pretty sure I had to get surgery for my knees. So I'm like, okay, I read from the isometric manual what performing these isometric exercises are going to do for my knees. I understand it's gonna hurt at first, because oh my goodness did they hurt. But I was like, all right, I know what it's going to do, so let me just deal with it for now. Consult your doctor or physician first before getting into this type of stuff, please. After a couple sessions, it did start to go down. But don't just think isometrics hurts, it's not for me. Everyone's different. So understand your unique situation, where you're coming from, and then kind of put 2 and 2 together. Okay, the manual said, or Chris mentioned this might happen. Okay, let me give it a couple more shots before I completely nix it. After the soft tissues have passed through that whole breakthrough phase of getting used to it, it's usually like 2 to 4 weeks. That soreness starts to ease off, just like with lifting, regular lifting, same thing. The worst soreness comes from when you haven't done anything for a while, or you're brand new, and your muscles like, what the hell is this dude doing? And that's just your body adjusting first. After that, not only will isos not cause pain to those joints and old injuries, it'll actually produce immediate and significant pain relief, which again, I can personally attest to with my knees. Sometimes way better than meds could ever do. In addition to the pain relieving properties that isometrics have, studies have shown that awesome bulletproofing protective effect If you haven't seen the video on Isochain and bulletproofing, here's a link right here. Go ahead and check that out. It's a fantastic video and one that I'm glad exists. Thank you, science. It has completely changed the game for me. Not only myself, but many other people on the squad. If the bulletproofing on the Isochain has helped you out, I want you to go ahead and comment down below. We're getting a lot more squad members these days. Maybe they need your personal story, not just mine, to really see the benefits of all this stuff. So that bulletproofing effect from muscle damage caused by other types of exercise, essentially meaning that if we perform ISOs regularly, it may prevent us from feeling sore after conventional training, including explosive or heavy exercises in general. Now, I can say that my soreness has gone down a little bit, but not too much. So I can't really speak from that aspect. However, again, if someone has used ISOs and that's an effect that you've noticed, I want you to go ahead and comment down below. Let us know. We want to hear your story. Key points to take home here: to avoid the soreness, build onto the training gradually over the first 2 to 4 weeks. It's just like when I'm scheduling a new client and programming them out, I don't have them do like 50 burpees and like 100 squats on it's the first day. Like I have to go through the assessment. I have to make sure so many things are in place, any injuries, and I build up their program. Everyone's program that starts with me at No Limit Fitness, after their assessment, if they are a beginner, their programming is extremely basic, not easy, just basic. The volume is low and it's designed to be built upon progressively. We're not going to level 10 stuff. We're at level 1. And when we're done with level 1, we go to level 2. We don't go to level 10. Does that make sense? Steady, steady. We don't have to go all in right away. In order to build up success, we want to make sure we start at a pace that's doable for us, and then we'll build up to the crazy stuff later. That comes later. Same thing here. Keep the volume low. No more than 6 sets per session at first. Keeping the intensity moderate. About 50% of the max initially. This is brand new. If you're not doing anything else, you are deconditioned and you're coming into this first as your only. That's what I'm talking to right now. About 50% of the max initially. And you want to avoid training the muscles at any angle where they're stretched. At first, we can go into that stuff later. Then as your body starts to acclimate, gradually add more sets and the intensity after that whole 2 to 4 week virgin soreness period. Just like with dynamic, again, this is exactly how I train my clients. Don't go all in. Any trainer that does that just throws their client to the wolves without any assessment, and they're just like, here, do like 1 million of these. What? Are you trying to kill them? Right? It's the same principle here. Start small. I know we want the whole transformative. We want to be pulling iron bars out like Alexander Zass and throwing 9 punches per second like Bruce Lee and all these other isometric freaks of nature. But in order to do that, we have to start small first, and then we'll get to that. All right, progressive overload. There's not going to be any progressive overload at all if we don't start correctly. All right. Hopefully this makes sense for the new people on the squad, and for those OG squad members, it's nice to get a refresher on this stuff. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment, and if you're not yet part of No Limit Squad, hit that subscribe button. What you waiting for? Come join the squad with us. We'll see you next video. Peace.